Here is something nobody in the self-help world wants to say out loud. Sometimes the self-improvement is the problem. Not because growth is bad, not because wanting more for yourself is wrong, but because if you only look for what's wrong, that is all you will ever find. In this video, I'm going to show you how the fixing loop sticks you, why it keeps so many incredible people stuck, and 5 specific shifts that will change how you see yourself and what becomes possible from there. Ready? I'm Donnielle Carter, certified wellness coach for nearly 20 years, and if you are someone who has been in self-improvement mode for a while now, this one is for you. You've read the books, you've done the journaling, you've taken the courses, you are genuinely committed to growing and becoming the best version of yourself. And yet, there is a quiet, persistent feeling that you are never quite there. That there is always something else to work on, another layer to fix, and the finish line keeps moving. If that sounds familiar, stay with me, because what I want to offer you today is not another thing to fix. It is something entirely different. Let's look at how this works. You decide you want to improve yourself, and that is great. Growth is good. Expansion is good. So you start looking for what needs improving, and you find it. Of course you do, because you went looking for it. So you work on that thing, and while you're working on it, you're also scanning. What else needs fixing? What else is wrong? Where else am I falling short? And you find more things, because, again, you went looking for things to fix. And the loop continues. Fix, scan, find. Fix, scan, find. And here's the part that nobody talks about. That loop does not end with fixed. It ends with more things to fix. Because when finding what's wrong becomes your primary lens, that is all you see. And not because there is that much wrong with you, but because that's where your attention lives. And attention is not neutral. Where you place it consistently is what grows. Quantum physics proves this. Where we put our attention, where we put our energy, things grow. Therefore, if you are consistently placing your attention on everything that needs improving and calling it wrong, you are not accidentally stumbling into more problems. You're growing them. Here's where it gets really interesting and a little uncomfortable, but the good kind. When fixing yourself becomes your identity, when you are always the project, something happens energetically that most people never consider. If you cannot find something wrong, you will create something wrong. Now, this isn't me judging you or asking you to judge you, because stick with me for a minute. Because what I'm about to say is a sign of potency. And I'll say it again. If you cannot find something wrong, you will create something wrong. Not on purpose, not consciously, but if there is a part of you that has decided, I am someone who has things to fix. And when that is your identity, your universe will organize itself to confirm it. You will allow situations that need managing. You will find evidence everywhere that, yes, you were right. Something is wrong with you. Because being right, even about something painful, feels safer than the uncertainty of what if there is actually nothing wrong with me. That question for a lot of people is more terrifying than the loop, because the loop is familiar. The fixing loop has a job to do every day, and without it, who are you? what do you do with yourself if you're not improving yourself? Sit with that for a second, because I think for a lot of you, that landed somewhere real. And this is where the potency comes back in. You are such a powerful creator that you will allow things, create things, or unconsciously concoct situations just to keep your identity of being someone who has things to fix intact. And that is not weakness. That is a person of true power who can create their life exactly as they desire it. You just have to get clear on what you actually desire to create. Before we get into the 5 shifts, I want to make something crystal clear, because I can already hear the question forming. Does this mean I just have to accept everything and never try to change? Absolutely not. Growth is not the problem. The lens you use to approach it is. There is a real difference between I am wrong and broken and this needs to be fixed, and I would like to do this differently. I would like more of this. I would like to grow here. One comes from judgment. One comes from desire. One contracts you and one expands you. And they produce completely different results, even when the goal is identical. Because your body knows the difference. Your nervous system knows the difference. Your energy knows the difference. Changing from a place of you are broken keeps you in survival. Changing from a place of I am building keeps you in expansion. And expansion is where things truly move and change. So here are 5 specific shifts, not 5 more things to fix. 5 ways to change the lens. Shift number 5, change the question you ask yourself. Whatever question you ask, your mind, your body, and the universe will answer every time. And the fixing loop runs on questions. Well, judgments disguised as questions. What's wrong with me? What needs fixing? Where am I falling short? All of these come from the place that says there is something inherently wrong with you. There isn't. So change the question to a real question, not to something you don't believe. That won't work, and you'll know it immediately. But to something genuinely curious. What would I like more of? What would I like to do differently? What would feel like growth to me right now? Is there someplace I'd like to challenge myself more in? Same desire for change, completely different energy underneath it. One is a verdict, one is an invitation. And your universe responds to that difference, whether you're aware of it or not. Shift number 4, stop measuring yourself against who you think you should be. This one is quiet and sneaky, and it runs deep. A lot of the fixing loop is not about who you are. It's about the gap between who you are and who you've decided you are supposed to be by now. More disciplined, more together, more healed, further along. And every day you measure the distance between here and there, you will find yourself lacking. But here's what I want you to consider. That version of you that you are measuring against, you invented them. They are not a standard handed down from the universe. They are a construction, a moving target you built and then started chasing. And you will never catch them because every time you get close, you move them further out. So instead of measuring the gap, get genuinely curious about who you are right now. Not as a consolation prize and not as unfinished, as the starting point. Because you cannot build from a gap. You can only build from where you are standing right now. Shift number 3, notice what you have already changed. Here is something the fixing loop conveniently never does. It never looks back. It is always scanning forward for the next problem, the next thing to work on, the next layer to address. And in doing that, it skips over something vitally important. You have already changed. You are not the same person you were 2 years ago, 5 years ago, 10 years ago, 5 minutes ago. Things have shifted, moved, grown, healed. And if nobody is acknowledging that, especially you, your nervous system has no evidence that change is even possible for you, which makes the next change feel harder than it needs to be. So pause. Look back, not to live there or find a reference point to make solid, but to collect the evidence. What is different now than it was? What did you move through that you didn't think you could? What do you know now that the previous version of you could not? That evidence matters. It tells your body, your universe, that you are someone change happens for. And that changes everything about what comes next. Shift number 2, change from desire, not judgment. When you find something you genuinely want to shift, and you will because growth is a natural state and is good, but check the energy underneath it before you begin. Ask yourself honestly, am I approaching this because I believe there is something wrong with me? Or am I approaching this because I want more of something good? Because these two starting points will take you to completely different places, even if the goal looks identical on paper. Judgment as a motivator works short term and burns you out long term. Desire as a motivator builds momentum that compounds and exponentializes. One exhausts you into the loop. One moves you forward and lets you enjoy the journey while you're on it. You are allowed to want things. You are allowed to grow, not just from the ground of being broken, but from the ground of I am someone who expands and changes. Shift number 1, ask what is right about you that you haven't acknowledged yet. Not what you want to become, not what you are working towards. What is already true about you right now that you have never stopped long enough to acknowledge. Because here is what acknowledgement does that fixing never can. It gives you ground to stand on and build from. You cannot build something lasting from a foundation of, I am broken and I need to be fixed. You cannot grow from a place where you believe something is fundamentally wrong with you. That ground is too unstable. Everything you build on it wobbles. But when you know what is solid, when you can look at yourself and say genuinely, honestly, here, this is what is working. This is what is good. Here's what I've done. You have something real to build on. I worked with a client who had believed since she was young that she was wrong. Not that she did wrong things, that she herself was fundamentally not right. And everything she did, every book, every program, every effort toward growth was filtered through that lens. Where am I wrong? What needs fixing? What's the problem with me this time? I asked her to write 10 things she could acknowledge about herself. Not 10 things she wanted to become. 10 things already true and amazing about her right now. It was hard for her, genuinely hard, because nobody had ever asked her to look in that direction before. But she did it. And when the loop started, when what's wrong with me spiral kicked in, she went there first. She went to her list. What's right about me? What is working? What am I proud of? And you know what? Her life started moving faster. Things she had been trying to fix for years began to shift. Not because she worked harder on fixing them, but because she stopped standing in the energy of broken while trying to build something whole. She even changed her body, not through punishment or restriction, but because she was no longer constantly in the frequency of something is wrong here. Acknowledgement was the foundation, and it is available to you right now, not tomorrow after you fix one more thing, right now, as you are. 10 things. Write them down today and let that be where you build from. What if you were never broken? What if there was never anything to fix about you? What if the version of you that you have been trying to improve was already the brilliant, phenomenal foundation of you that you can build on? You are allowed to want to grow. You are allowed to desire more, to do things differently, and to expand. Just not from the ground of something is wrong with me, from the ground of I am already something worth building on. That shift from fixing to acknowledging changes what you look for. So today, find 10 things that are right about you and that you can acknowledge about you. Write them down, look at them, and let that be the place you build from. Thank you so much for being here and pushing play. If this contributed to you in any way, please subscribe, like, and share it with somebody who needs to hear that they also were never wrong and broken to begin with. And check out this video right here for more mindset shifting tips and tricks. And until we play again, keep creating a life that inspires you every single day to live it. I'll see you soon.